Great. Good morning. Today is Friday, April 8th, 2022. It's 8:32 a.m. and we are resuming committee work on Bill H-175, an act relating to the beverage container redemption system. And our first guest for the day on this bill is Mr. Henry Haskell from Salisbury. Good morning, Mr. Haskell. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
So I know that you have a long-standing interest in the bottle bill, and we're working on it this week and next as well. So your testimony is perfectly timely. What would you like the committee to know about the bottle bill, please?
I've written a statement here, which I would like to read to you.
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before you. My name is Henry Haskell, a native Vermonter and a 44-year resident of the town of Salisbury. I'm here today to lend my support to Senator Bray and Senator Hardy in their efforts to expand the bottle bill with the passage of H-175. My wish to see the bottle bill expanded is a result of my personal observations. During my walks with my dog, I see a lot of litter beside the roads near my home. The returnables I pick up and collect the deposit. The non-returnable aluminum and flattened cans I pick up and take to earth waste systems and receive a small sum. There needs to be uniformity in the products that are covered. There is a 15-cent deposit on a liquor bottle, but none on a 50 milliliter little shooter. No matter the size, they are both litter. There is no deposit on wine bottles and pouches. If beer and liquor have a deposit, why is wine exempt? It is also in the alcohol family, and when consumed while operating a motor vehicle, the consequences can be just as deadly. The little wine pouches present another problem. When the roadsides are mowed, they get shredded, and now instead of one piece of litter, we have several to pick up on Green Up Day. When the bottle bill was enacted in 1972, there were not as many products available to the consumer to grab, go, and throw. Today, we have energy drinks, tea, lemonade, and coffee in glass bottles. Hard lemonade and tea containers can be returned, but not regular lemonade and tea. Sparkling water bottles can be returned, but not plain water bottles, which I see many of discarded. When these plastic containers find their way into the lake and waterways, this causes an environmental impact. Vermont is a beautiful state and a place I feel blessed to live in. I urge the House and Senate to pass this legislation, and with the governor's signature, put it into effect. In doing so, we will be another step closer to reducing unsightly litter, help conserve our resources, and preserve our natural beauty. It is my wish that all parties with the power to enact this piece of legislation will listen to their constituents and to their hearts, and not be swayed by the power of the corporate lobbyist. I would like to make one last point to reinforce my sentiments. During a period from April 2017 to December 2021, I returned $378 worth of returnables. This equates to 7,560 cans and bottles that are not littering our roadsides. As I close, I wish to thank you again for the privilege to speak in support of H-175. I would like to thank my wife Brenda for being the proofreader. I also want to thank Dr. Carl Petrie for assisting me with the technical details. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haskell. Senator Campion.
Mr. Haskell, thank you for that excellent testimony. I very much appreciate it. I'm curious, do you have a sense of what bottles, and thank you for actually also helping keep our landscape clean. Do you have a sense of what bottles you see most often? Which ones are out there the most that you kind of always go to and you're just thinking, oh gosh, there's another one of these?
The most prevalent ones are Budweiser beer and bottles. And along in that same category is the sparkling beverages, Truly and White Claw. And the majority of them are the big cans, the 25-ounce cans, and probably in a minority are soda bottles. And then water bottles, just plain water bottles, are quite numerous.
Thank you. That's helpful. Thank you very much.
Mr. Haskell, I have a question about redemption. So one of the things that we're actually working hard on and finding a little bit of a challenge is how far apart places to redeem bottles are. And so where do you take the empties that you collect? Because Salisbury, you don't have a redemption center do you have a redemption center in Salisbury?
Not in Salisbury. I take them to the Middlebury Redemption Center and turn them in. I find that sometimes there's quite a line of people, and some people have quite a number of bags that they want to redeem, so it takes a fair amount of time sometimes.
Yeah.
And to complicate the matter, they're closed on Tuesdays due to staffing shortages.
What's the longest you ever had to wait at the redemption center?
Yesterday I took up a large number of bottles, and there were several people there, and 3 people had small bottles, so I let them go ahead of me so that they wouldn't have to wait. And my total time was probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Wow. Shit.
Wow.
Yeah, we've heard of long waits. That's probably the longest we've heard, though. Wow.
Okay, well, I mean, that's so as we look at expanding the bill, the number of products covered, because I think a lot of people, everyone, I think it's an agreement that there's all sorts of new products that arrived since the bottle bill started, and a lot of them end up as litter. And if they were covered by a deposit or a system that paid to get them back, we would all hope that we'd see less litter. And the challenge we're running into is that in terms of redeeming, if we triple the number of things, we looked at what's going on in Maine, where they essentially did a bill very much like 175. And they're having triple the volume of materials coming in. So the little stores that do some redeeming, like a country store that has just a back room for it, they can't handle the volume. So Maine has actually gone to using, I think, almost exclusively larger redemption centers. And they have many more than Vermont. So what we're working through right now is if we increase the volume, how do we make it so that somebody doesn't have to drive 20, 30 minutes to redeem them? And then once they get to that place, will there be a capacity to drop them off in a relatively timely manner, like 5, 10, 20 minutes, not an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I think we're working on the logistics. That's actually we're all in agreement on the goal, and the challenge we're running into right now is sorting out the logistics of that redemption chain so that we don't overwhelm the people who already are taking bottles with 3 times the number of bottles. So I think we're headed the way you're talking. What we haven't sorted out yet is the details of how to make it a practical system for everyone in on it. But
Mr. Haskell, I have to say, thank you for picking all of those bottles up. I continue to be amazed how much litter is on the sides of the roads in Vermont, and it's so disrespectful, and it also makes me think, is there an agency, I suspect it's transportation, that also needs to keep their eye out for some of these things? Because if you're a tourist coming into any state, it's not a great way to be welcomed, seeing this kind of trash on the side. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to try to keep our roadsides a little cleaner. And just as a footnote, last fall, I bought an electric bicycle, equipped it with some storage containers on the back, and have now expanded my range of roadside cleanup.
That's great. You should send us a picture of the bike. We'd love to see it. That's great. That's great.
And one other footnote, for each piece of litter that you see beside the road, there are probably a half a dozen more that you don't see each time.
I was looking at a 1972 issue of the Addison Independent that was when the bottle bill was introduced, and it was using a photograph to make the point of why we needed to have a redemption system and stop having so much litter. It turns out that the picture they used was of the Salisbury truck stop there, right around, a little south of the egg farm on the west side of 7. And there must have been 300 liquor bottles in that rest area. Apparently it was a popular place to go have a party or something. I'm not quite sure what. But anyway, so thanks so much for joining us. And we are going to go on to our next topic for the morning. Keep an eye on us. We'll have a bill out in the next couple weeks. So a work very much in progress. Have a great day, and thanks for your service in the service and now continuing on the roadside. Senator Campion.
Well, I have, if we get to when we finish this and the governor signs it, I'm sure your 2 wonderful senators can help you get to the bill signing. We'll let you know when it actually happens. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
That'd be wonderful.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Mr. Haskell.
Thanks, Henry. It's good to see you.
Bye now.
Bye.
That was great. That was great. Very helpful.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Especially you, Jude. Thank you.
An hour and a half to get.
I know.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
he's amazing. Last year he said to me, Ruth, I collected enough bottles to be able to buy a gun safe. And I was like, that is a win-win.
Good for him.
Take care.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think
Huh.
Dorothy Douglas bought her last lawnmower with her bottle, with her nickel. All right, we're a little.
All right, that was good. That was good testimony.
Very good testimony. Morning, Mr. Hand.
Good morning. How are you, Senator Bray?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing well. It's been a long time since I've been in this room with you.
Yeah,
It's good.
well, it's been a long time since we've been in this
Yeah,
room.
I guess so, yeah.
You know, we hit the eject button back on March 13th, 2020, and we only came back in here 4 weeks ago. Is that what it was? Something like that.
We are expecting Laura Murphy. She lives in Montpelier and said she would show up in
She told me
person.
she was gonna be in person. So,
Yeah,
I
so,
thought
but
it
I
was
didn't
easier
get
for
your,
us. I just tried to resend it. See, maybe check your email.
here's the same, I couldn't get, we are still live, by the way, folks.
So, why don't we pause?